Moving right along to our next keynote address, we have Sandy Vanderstoep. Now, she is the DC Project Director for the Alliance of Sustainable Colorado. She is focused on enhancing the effectiveness of the Alliance Center to ensure that this flagship building provides the setting for a productive, collaborative setting that will make a difference in our world. Now, she comes from a background in academia, then into a serial entrepreneurial career. So from her keynote address on Thomas Edison, Your Time Is Now, she's the perfect moderator for our next discussion on DC Project at the Alliance for Sustainable Colorado. Sandy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning. I want to take you on a trip. The trip is going to be to the Chicago World's Fair, 1893. At the Chicago World's Fair, we're at the peak of the Industrial Revolution, and we are seeing all kinds of changes in the world. In that process, the people are streaming into the fair because they've heard rumor. They've just heard rumor that there's this big thing about lighting and electricity that's going to happen at the World's Fair. So they're coming in by horse and buggy. They're coming in by private rail cars. They are coming in droves. Dressed to the nines, this is a big exhibition of the type that only America has been able to put on. Enter George Westinghouse and Nikola Tesla, who won the contract for lighting the fair. They step to the lectern. They reach for the switch. They turn the switch, and voila, 180,000 light bulbs illuminate the Chicago World's Fair. The crowd gasped. Wow! There was wild cheering and carrying on. They were excited beyond belief. The headline in the Chicago Tribune, 1893, May 9th, was "Chicago, the White City," thanks to the electricity and the alternating current of Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse. That legacy goes forward today. In case you happen to be a baseball fan, the Chicago White Sox name came out of that same background. And the Rockies won last night. It tells you my preferences. Yes, I'm Sandy Vanderstoep, and I am greatly honored to be able to share with you what we're doing at the Alliance for Sustainable Colorado. What we are attempting to do, and actually it is already underway, is to take the alternative to alternating current, the direct current that Thomas Edison developed, and use it first a supplement and a complement to alternating current, and then to continue to enlarge the footprint for that as we move forward. The pioneering effort by the Alliance is one in which we think we have the opportunity to bring to the US and to the world a way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by eliminating the fossil fuel burning facilities that are required for 67% of all the alternating current. In doing that, we have chosen AREDAY as absolutely the proper time and place to announce this program. AREDAY brings together all of you who really need to not only hear this message, but I hope become so intrigued with it that you become the next ever-widening circle of ambassadors on an alternative in which, yes, there is a lot of DC out there, but what we're going to show is an integrated program in which you deal not only with photovoltaics on the roof of your building or batteries storing energy in the base, but rather the pioneering effort is one of integrating the entire system in a very functional and cost-competitive way. So you're saying, so why DC? Is this alternating current thing really broken? It wouldn't be if we used a whole lot less electricity, or it wouldn't be broken as badly. In the last 15 years, since the year 2000, 50% of all the electricity that has ever been generated has been consumed. In 15 years, we've consumed 50% of all the electricity that's been generated. In that arena, then, the real impact is that the toxic effects of carbon and greenhouse gas emissions has exploded. Our climate change is directly related to that. When we look at where the biggest users of that electricity are, they're in the building sector. 75% of electricity is used in the building sector, 35% in residential, 40% in commercial buildings. In order to get the biggest bang for the buck in terms of making change, let's go to the biggest sector and see if we can make an imprint. And so what we are doing with our project at the Alliance Center is to take an existing commercial building, retrofitting it, not throwing out the alternating current, but bringing in every piece of direct current that we can. We are not necessarily driven by the return on investment. We are driven by the returns on investment, the externalities, the overall cost, when we figure the cost on a full cost basis. So that what we see very frequently in our world is a world in which the hero, in this case, Nikola Tesla and Westinghouse, and alternating current. And thank you very much that they did this. The world would be very dark up until now if we didn't have alternating current. But that hero turns to villain on occasion. And usually it turns to villain on the basis of a technology breakthrough. And in this case, the breakthrough is both photovoltaics, it is batteries, and it is microgrids. And we are trying to use all of those ingredients in a single integrated system in order to take a look at cause, effect, and solution. So as we're pulling this all together, I want you all to just stop and think for a minute. How much of your world is already direct current? Okay, so your cell phone, yes, that comes to mind. Where else do you have a battery? Oh, lots and lots and lots of places. So that as we're looking at this, we are basically dealing with a world that is already direct current. So in that setting, in that sense, this is not a paradigm shift. This is simply a way of moving to a different source of energy. And what we are proposing is local, on-site energy generation, and then local, on-site distribution. We are not attempting to be in the business of selling this back onto the grid. We want to utilize every piece of it. We happen to be in a historic building that has 6 stories. The ratio between our roof size and the usage in an office building is not good. We're going to start, and we're going to do this in phases. In this DC world, one of the things we want to do is that we are really running a grand experiment, an experiment that Edison would be very proud of. He sat in his laboratory in New Jersey, and even after his defeat in the current wars, continued to make grand experiments. And so what we're trying to do is to do a proof of feasibility that this is possible to do. We are not familiar with other buildings that have done retrofits of existing commercial buildings. In terms of that proof of feasibility, we also want to create a tangible, hands-on demonstration site that serves as a living laboratory, so that when you think there is something to test out in the DC world, whether it's your corporation or your favorite new thought about how to put 2 wires into a banana and light a light bulb, which indeed you still can do. We also are going to do open sourcing, so that we are going to share this entire story, front to back, top to bottom, victory to failure, and we are going to fail. If we're not failing, we are not nearly close enough to the edge. We need to be able to be vulnerable. We need to be able to be open. We need to be able to tell you, please don't go that way because we found there was a big pothole over here and we didn't see it. But on the other hand, there's a passing lane over here that's really good, and we'd suggest you go that direction. So we mean to give you a roadmap by which you can now take your best ideas, your buildings, and do and follow through on the basis of what we have pioneered. In this process, we do not mean to be shy about our outcomes. We are going to share with the world, thanks to your help, exactly what we're doing. We mean to have you each be ambassadors. I am going to charge you with the responsibility for sharing these ideas on an ever-widening circle. This roadmap requires us to get to critical mass. Although I hesitate to quote Malcolm Gladwell in Tipping Point, there is absolutely a necessity for us to show that this program is scalable, it's replicable, and it has grid parity. So as I am looking out at you all today, I am struck by a quote from Isabel Allende, who is one of my favorite authors. And I think it's very appropriate. She wrote, "Mavericks, dissidents, rebels, outsiders, explorers, those of you who ask the hard questions, who bend the rules, who take chances, indeed, every one of you sitting in these chairs today, we need your warehouse. We need your home. We need your shopping center. We need your hotel. We need you to get involved in this grand experiment. In doing that, we then are in a position to be able to lead, knowing that we launched this at AREDAY and that we are going to be able to come back together to celebrate the successes as we work forward into a planet that has reduced greenhouse gas emissions and is more sustainable and habitable. Thank you.